Hey guys, welcome to Storytime with Dusty Smith, the show where I get drunk as fuck and then talk about real life stories that happened in my dumbass life. And today we're drinking low calorie redneck margaritas. Cause when you're already sort of a chubby chub like I am, you want to do whatever you can to bring those calories down as often as possible to make sure you're as less of a bloated walrus as you can possibly be. It's actually not too bad. My recipe for low calorie redneck margaritas is very simple. First, you need a blender. Then you need some fucking ice. Then some diet lemon lime drink. I always buy the cheap generic stuff because I'm cheap as fuck. Then a couple packets of lemonade powder. Then fill it up about halfway with tequila. Top it off with your diet lemon lime bullshit. Blend the fuck out of that motherfucker. And then drink till you're stupid. And now that we're properly lubricated, it's story time. So picture this. I'm a young, buff, 19-year-old stud. My uncle just goddamn kidnapped my ex-girlfriend and her entire family for $500,000 ransom and got murdered by the FBI. Which makes my entire family look like a fucking twat. So I have to leave Jackson, Mississippi. So I decided to move with my best friend Steven to Memphis, Tennessee, so we could both pursue careers in modeling. And around this time, I'm fucking pretty ripped. I'm not a bad looking kid, but I'm only 5'7". And what I didn't know then is, you can't be a fucking male model if you're only 5'7". Joe stumpy ass legs. But my friend Steven, he's fucking 6'1" with his tall ass. He fucking killing it. And we had an apartment together, but unlike me, he had a fucking girlfriend who lived in the apartment complex that we lived in. So he was never fucking home. Was always home alone by my goddamn self. Poor Dusty. Anyway, don't feel too sorry for me, because about this time the internet was just coming out, and it was fucking amazing. So you guys know me. I just spent half my goddamn time just sitting around masturbating. So anyway, we lived in these single-story apartments. All the apartments were just one story. And one Friday night, I was sitting in my room cranking it out. And you goddamn kids have no idea how fucking good you have it these days. Back in the day, porn was so goddamn slow. I had like a 14K modem, which is something like 1 megabyte an hour or some shit like that. It was gross. But I didn't mind. It was fucking awesome to me. I mean, yeah, you had to wait like 5 minutes for a single picture of a naked lady to load, but who gave a fuck? You had naked ladies load on your goddamn computer screen. It was basically magic. And back in the day when I was 19, I was fucking serious about my masturbation, dude. I could literally masturbate like 8 hours at a time sometimes, which sounds like a really long time, but as slow as porn loaded back then, that's only like 10 naked pictures. But I could fucking go, dude. I was a masturbation rock star. So one night, I'm just sitting there cranking it. I'm probably 30 to 45 minutes into my masturbation session. Internet was working really good that night. I think I saw 3 whole naked pictures up to that point. And I'm just fucking going to town, dude. When behind me, I could swear I heard some rustling outside of my window. And I had these mini blinds up, but for any of you peeping toms out there, you know, if you look the right way, you can see through that shit. So I turned around and I didn't fucking see anything. So I was like, fuck, obviously this is just my imagination. And I went right back to goddamn cranking it. So like another 10, 15 minutes passed, and I'm just having a good old time. The whole apartment could have been on goddamn fire, and I probably wouldn't have noticed. And then there's a knock on the door. And I'm like, fuck! Who dares interrupt my goddamn masturbation? So I get up, pull my pants up, zip up, walk down the hall to the goddamn door, open it, and there's a guy standing there. He's probably like my age, maybe 20, 21, something like that. And he's not a bad looking guy. He's just a normal looking guy, thin, pretty well kept, but he's acting nervous as fuck. And I'm like, yeah, can I help you? And he's like, is Lucy here? And I was like, Lucy? Nah, man, ain't nobody here named Lucy. I never heard of anybody named Lucy. And he starts looking around my apartment and he's like, you sure? And I was like, yeah, man, I'm sure. Ain't no Lucy here. And then he's like, well, what are you doing? And of course, immediately I'm confused. I'm like, the fuck you mean, what am I doing? I'm back there masturbating my ass off. That's what I'm doing. But of course, I didn't say that. I was just all confused. And I was like, nothing? Just hanging out, dude. And he smiled at me and he gave me some googly eyes. And he was like, you're not doing anything fun tonight? Well, I was till you interrupted me. But I was like, nah, dude. I'm just hanging out. If you're looking for Lucy, maybe check in those apartments across the way there. I can't help you. And I shut the door. Obviously, at the time, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was just creeped out. But I didn't really want to take too much time to think about it because I wanted to get back to my masturbation. So I locked the door, go back in my room, shut the door, get right back on it, drop trowel, start downloading another picture, which I'm pretty sure was a facial. And I don't skip a beat. I just get right back into it, going whole hog. And then I hear something behind me again, rustling in my window. And I turn around and I see the guy that was standing at my door, standing at my window, peering through the blinds, and we make direct fucking eye contact. He's been watching me the whole goddamn time. And as we make eye contact, I hear him audibly say, "Oh shit." And then I see him turn around and run as fast as he could fucking possibly run away. So of course I'm like, "Oh my God, what the fuck is this shit? Has this motherfucker been watching me masturbate the whole goddamn time? Did he knock on my door trying to have gay butt sex with me? This motherfucker gotta have some of the biggest balls in the goddamn universe." But obviously, I'm freaked the fuck out. The FBI had already taken the only gun I had away from me, just because my uncle used it to kidnap my ex-girlfriend. Fucking assholes. So I ran in the kitchen and opened the drawer and I grabbed a fucking steak knife because that's all I goddamn had. And I flung the front door open and I ran around to my window and looked around and you can see footprints everywhere and cigarette butts. There's absolutely no telling how often that guy must have sat there and goddamn watched me masturbate because I did it every fucking day. So obviously I was fucking horrified. I was so scared that I did not masturbate for 10 whole hours. I went to Walmart and bought fucking blankets and stapled them up all over the fucking windows to make sure the whole goddamn thing was covered. And that night I slept under my pillow with that goddamn steak knife. You know, just in case that guy broke into my house and tried to tickle my butthole, I was gonna be ready. So anyway, I guess the moral of this story is, check your blinds, motherfucker, check your blinds. Because you never know who might be watching you. And also, if you're a peeping Tom watching people masturbate, don't fucking go knocking asking what they're doing. Just enjoy the fucking show, dudes. Damn, that dude could have probably watched me for years before I caught on. Congratulations. You played yourself. So obviously, I saved up and I bought me another fucking gun because I can't have pervy weirdos sneaking in my window and tickling my butthole while I'm sleeping. So fast forward about a month. Me and my friend Steven were on Bill Street in Memphis at the BB King restaurant. And I'm too young to drink, but Steven knows somebody that works at BB King who didn't card me, so I'm in there getting fucking hammered. And we're hanging out with another dude who neither one of us knew very well, whose name was Greg. And keep in mind, this was back in the day when I was a giant-ass Christian. Even though I masturbated all the fucking time and liked to get drunk on occasion, I still love me some Jesus. I was a giant fucking Christian dork. In fact, it's hard to properly explain just how big of a fucking Christian dork I was, but I'm about to. Because later that night, me and Steven and this dude we barely knew named Greg left BB King, and on Bill Street, you get to park like way fucking far away from Bill Street. So we're all walking back to Steven's car, and we're about 2 blocks from Bill Street. And then these two chicks I had never seen before pull up alongside of us. And this guy named Greg, who me and Steven didn't really know very well, walks over and starts talking to him. And Greg and these chicks are too far away from us for me to hear what they're talking about. But my friend Steven leans over and whispers to me, "Those girls are prostitutes." And I'm such a fucking giant dork, I don't know what I was goddamn thinking. I don't know if I was thinking that prostitutes didn't really exist. I don't know what the fuck was going on in my head. But I thought he was fucking joking. And I laughed and I said, "No, they're not." And so Greg, this guy we didn't know very well, walks over and he says, "My friends are going to give us a ride back to our car." So I'm thinking, fucking great. These two chicks are going to give us a ride back to our car. This is beautiful. So the two girls are sitting in the front seat. And we walk over to the car to get in the back. And they're like, "Oh, well, the passenger side door in the back is broken. So you guys all have to climb through the driver's side area and just scoot over to the passenger side." So my dumbass goes first, of fucking course. I climb in the back door and I scoot all the way over to the passenger side door, which doesn't work. And Greg, the guy we barely knew, crawls in the middle. And then Steven crawls in on the back driver's side door and shuts the door. And I'm just sitting back there fucking drunk and oblivious of shit. And then we start driving along and Greg's like, "How much for all of us?" And my dumb ass still don't fucking know what's going on. I'm thinking, how much what for all of us? And the girls are like, $50 each. And I'm thinking, $50 what each? And then Greg is like, "How much just for a blowjob for each of us?" And the girls are like, "Well, that'll be $20 each." And it was about this time I started to suspect these girls might be prostitutes. And like I said, I'm a giant fucking Christian dork. I started to freak out a little bit. I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm in the car with goddamn prostitutes. I'm gonna burn hell for eternities." And I started looking at these girls, and these girls were actually pretty attractive. They were nice looking. They were young, seemed to have all their teeth, weren't too skinny, did not seem to be addicted to meth in any way. So I'm young, drunk, stupid, Christian. And of course, my head fucking starts spinning. I start thinking to myself, wait a minute. These women are attractive, and also they made us all climb in the same door and claim the door I'm next to doesn't work. These women are obviously police, and they're gonna fucking arrest us. And this is the perfect way to arrest us, because they all got us fucking pinned. My door doesn't even fucking work, so all they gotta do is run up to one goddamn door, and they got us all pinned in. There ain't shit we can do. And while I'm working all this shit over in my head, the two girls start flirting with me and Steven. The girl driving looks back at me, puts her hand on my knee, and says, "Damn, you're cute." And the girl on the passenger side looks back at Steven, and she's like, "Damn, this was cute too. He looks kind of like Elvis." And then Greg, the douchebag we barely fucking knew, gets all jealous. And he's like, "What about me? I'm the one paying for all this shit." And so they have to calm down his fragile male ego. And they're like, "Oh, well, you're cute too." And at this point, my Christian ass has had enough of this shit. I'm like, I'm about to be arrested by hot police women. This shit's gonna go on my permanent record. Oh, hell no. So when they stop at a red light, I loudly proclaim, "I'm married. I have to get out of here." Even though I wasn't fucking married. So I basically immediately crawl across Greg's lap, crawl across Steven's lap, unlatch the door on his side, open it, and do a fucking head-first somersault out into the middle of the goddamn street, then pick myself up, dust myself off, and just keep walking my happy ass along. I can only imagine the reaction that happened back in the car, but I didn't stop to fucking see it. I just kept on walking, didn't look back. Next thing I know, Steven jumped out of the car, and Greg jumped out of the car and followed me. I sort of a little bit feel sorry for those prostitutes / police women, whoever the fuck they were, because that whole situation was awkward as fuck. But for some reason, Steven nor Greg mentioned what happened to me at all. None of us ever fucking talked about that shit again. We just walked back to our car, drove home, never fucking spoke of it. Fast forward about 2 weeks later, Greg wants to stay at our house because he has a job interview somewhere he wants to go to. So we're trying to help this dude out. We're like, "Sure, fuck yeah, you can stay at our house." So me and Steven get up and go to work the next day. We leave Greg at our house. He's supposed to go to a job interview later that day. And we get home and we realize fucking Greg has robbed us. Apparently Greg, this motherfucker we barely knew, was a drug addict. He went into Steven's room while we were gone and stole this big old synthesizer and went and pawned it for drugs. And we instantly noticed. And believe it or not, back in the day when I was 19, I was even bigger of a dumbass than I am now. Like these days, if you rob me, I ain't gonna worry about it too much. As long as you don't physically hurt me or shit, worst I'm probably gonna do is make a video about you or something. Like who really gives a shit? But back in the day, we were young and stupid. Felt like we always had to prove ourselves to somebody. And we were like, "Oh, hell no, this motherfucker robbed us. This motherfucker has not only insulted us, but he has insulted our entire ancestry. He has humiliated every one of my family members who have ever lived. This will not stand." So of course, at this time I had a gun, Steven had a gun, and we put out the word with people who knew this Greg guy that we were looking for this motherfucker. And we actually did go looking for this motherfucker. Me and Steven got our guns and loaded into his Nissan Maxima and drove around Memphis, Tennessee looking for this guy. So I swear to God, very fucking next day after we went looking for this guy, one of his friends shows up at our door with a synthesizer. When he heard we were looking for him, he immediately got the money to go back, repawn it, and bring that shit back to us. And I don't have any idea what the fuck we would have actually done if we'd have found him. Probably not jack shit. At least I hope that's true. My dumb ass probably would have ended up doing something stupid, ended up in jail for a long time. But luckily, we did not find him. And I guess back in the day when I was really young, not now, but back in the day when I was young, I kind of had a reputation for being a tough guy. I was an idiot who would fight anybody at the drop of a goddamn hat. I ain't like that now at all. I don't give a shit. I ain't got nothing to prove to nobody. Everything I've wanted to prove, I've fucking proven it already. What the fuck ever, dude? I just want to be left alone. But yeah, that dude brought that shit back to us real quick. But this story ain't even fucking over, dudes. It gets even fucking crazier. So about a month later, I'm working at a hardware store in the lawn and garden department. I walk into work one day, and they have hired fucking Greg to be my goddamn manager in the goddamn lawn and garden department. The motherfucker who robbed me for drugs is now my goddamn manager in the fucking lawn and garden department. And of course, I'm like, "Oh, hell no! What the fuck are you guys thinking?" I immediately went to the manager of the dude who ran the whole store. And I'm like, "Dude, you just fucking hired a dude who robbed me to be my goddamn manager. What is wrong with you?" And apparently, they did not even bother to do the background check on this guy at all. They just thought he interviewed really well and they hired him. So after I told them, obviously they did the background check. and fired the guy immediately. And you guys should have seen Greg's face when I walked into work that day and he saw that I fucking worked there. His whole face went white and he tried to be nice to me and make amends and shit. But oh fuck no! You robbed me, motherfucker! The hell did you think was gonna happen? So his ass got fired immediately. That may be the greatest example of karma I have ever witnessed in my entire life. Be very careful who you fuck over, because you never know when these people are gonna pop up in your life. Treating people like shit is often a direct road to unintended consequences. So you're much better off not fucking over people. And I never saw Greg again, but I'd like to think he's out there somewhere masturbating to my videos right now, and there's a guy out the window watching him do it. I hope you guys enjoyed Story Time with Dusty Smith. There's going to be much more of these in the future. If you like it, please share it. And as always, until next time, I fucking love you and wish you logic. Fuck yes. Hey guys, Dusty Smith here. And for the last couple months, what we've been doing is capturing all the feral cats in the neighborhood. Generally, somewhere in your state, you will have TNR programs. Basically, there are organizations in most states who will charge you a very small fee, as low as $10, to neuter or spade feral cats that you have trapped, in which you can then take back and release. This actually does an amazing amount of good for the environment. People don't realize this, but feral cats are a very invasive species. In Australia alone, they say that feral cats kill over 1 million lizards every day. And the feral cats are really decimating the bird populations. So trapping and releasing them is a really good thing you can do to help your local community. You can get traps relatively cheaply from Walmart. And if you have the time and want to help your community, this is a really good thing you can do. And if you'd like to help our efforts, we're doing good work here at the Humanist Society of Mississippi Animal Sanctuary. Please consider donating to our Patreon. It really helps. Thanks, guys.